I'm getting ready to put the backing on this quilt, and this is the second one I have to do for my friend. I took a class with Georgia Stoll and Karen Farnsworth. It was an academy on Facebook. Georgia uses a stapler to staple her quilts on. That's where I got that from. I used to use the red snappers. I have zero strength in my hands anymore, so it was kind of hard for me to push them on. And this is much easier. It always goes on. I never have any folds in my backing, so it works out really well. I found a piece of batting that was just the right size. I mean, I barely have any, and barely any on the bottom, but I think it'll work. So I think I'm going to use this gray omni thread and this brown omni thread. So it looks like I have a brown pre-wound bobbin. I actually kind of like this color. I wonder if I have anything that's that color for the front. I'll just choose one of the bigger ones. Well, I think I really like this color on the back. I think it's going to look better. And I think this will be fine on the front, so we're going to go with this color instead of the brown. So I need to start with this color for the border, because I'm going to do the border first. And so go ahead and check the tension on this. And it almost goes up to 400, so I have to loosen these quite a bit. Okay, I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and check the tension real quick. So that looks pretty good. The back looks good. The front looks good. I don't think I need to change anything. So if you wanted to set something up like this on your long arm to check your tension, you just need, a back and a front with some batting. This is about, 12 inches wide. And it's long enough that I can clamp it to this end and buy some so-tight magnets. I actually made these magnets myself. I 3D printed the front and just put magnets on the back. But you can buy the so-tights and they're going to work for you also. So I'm getting ready to base down the top of the quilt, and the batting on this is exactly almost the same size as the quilt top. So I may have to stretch the batting just a little bit in some places if it's not quite fitting, but I think it'll be fine. I'm just going to use my channel locks and set them on the horizontal and use that to place my quilt top on straight and stitch it down. We'll start setting up our edge-to-edge border. So I'm thinking just do the edge-to-edge to the blue border, and then I'll do something else in the blue border. I'll probably have to change threads, and then we'll do something else for the center. So here's my boundary. I'm going to start a repeat pattern. Trying to figure this out. Here we go. Upper left corner is what I want to do. The height is 57. Let's try 57 here. So what do you guys think? Do you like the sunflowers? You think that would be a good border? 7 repeats, 5 rows. One more thing with repeat pattern. I always select the ones that I'm not going to quilt and toggle them sewn, because when you come to the end of the row, it's going to want to continue, and then it's going to try to go back over here, and I don't want it to do that. I just want it to stop. And then when I come to the next row, I'll just toggle it unsewn, and then we'll continue from there. I think I like this little sunflower yellow that I chose instead of the brown. I think this is going to look really nice. This pattern is going to take a lot longer to quilt than the last one I did. The other one was had lots of space in between the elements, and it was a nice loose quilting. This one is a lot more dense. And I finished the first row. I'm getting ready to roll the quilt, and I'm just going to take off the clamps. And it's really difficult to see where I finished here. I just have to put my machine on the last stitch that I did and roll the quilt on here. I took off and went to the store, so I'm a little confused, obviously. Okay, so I took and relocated my pattern to one point for a repeat pattern. It's really easy. And I'm just going to put the clasp back on because obviously I'd already rolled it up before I left and went to town. So just go ahead and do that real quick. I'm having a little bit of a migraine, so I'm not thinking very clearly at this moment. I can't even talk. It's difficult for me to talk when I start getting these really bad headaches, and some days it'll be like, days before I get one, I'll have trouble speaking. Not that I don't already have trouble speaking, but it gets worse. So I just really need to do these little borders, and so I need to create another boundary. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. I just want to delete the boundary. I'm going to press K on my keyboard, click the delete button, and then go up here and click draw boundary. I almost totally messed this up. I probably shouldn't be doing anything when I have a migraine, but I forgot to draw the boundary up here, and I started the quilting when it was over here. So yeah, I need this top part to stitch out too, so I'm going to have to take out a little bit and start over. So what I had to do was I had to select the whole thing and fill inside, because if I do them individually, it'll be broken, and I want it to continuously quilt on this side and then go over here and then quilt this side. I think I'll do this one, then I'll go lay down, and I'll finish the rest when I'm feeling better. So I'm back at it, and I'm going to delete everything in the middle for my next row and fill inside for the side pieces. So it is going to create like a little line right here. You need to be careful that where you set up your boundary, it's not too close to, let's say, the blue right here, because then it'll stitch over. Okay, so we're stitching on the right side. I tried to film stitching on the left side, and I kind of messed up and wasn't watching, and it overstitched some of the blue, and I had to take it out. So this one I'm trying to watch so that I don't have to, take any stitches out. But this side always seems to get a little further away from the edge. And you could also stitch in the ditch here if you wanted. I've drawn my boundary again, and you can kind of see, it's hard to see on through the video, but this is the bottom part, so I just need to fill inside. Actually, I need to select it all and fill inside. And it takes a second, and you can see this is the part of the pattern that I need to stitch out. I want to show you my batting. I mean, it is like really, really close. All right, good morning. This is the next day, and I'm going to do the blue this morning. And I'm going to use the glide thread. I haven't really used a lot of glide lately. I don't really like the shininess of it on my quilts. But when I first started quilting, I used glide a lot because I was able to buy a bunch of different color spools pretty cheaply. And now I just use them for embroidery. So I do have a bunch of big spools like this that I can still use, and this happens to be the color I need. I don't have any in Omni thread, which is okay because now at least it's not going to leave a bunch of lint, right? And I do have like a pre-wound bobbin that matches, so that'll save me some time. I don't know what I'm going to do in the border yet. I have to think about it. All the outside edge to edge or repeat pattern border I did is all done, and I think it looks really cute. I mean, you can't really see it on the busy fabric, but I think you'll be able to see it a little bit on the back. We'll see when we take the quilt off. So I'm gonna go look at my patterns real quick and see what I can find to put in the border. I'm actually gonna use this kind of a feathered border. I think this will look nice. Once it gets all stitched out, I'm gonna change my foot, and I'm going to put the open toe foot back on so that I can do some stitch in the ditch around this blue border on both sides, and then I can do some stitch in the ditch around here. So I might have to put my roller plate on also. We'll see. I need to drop the belts real quick, so I'll go ahead and do that. Pretty easy. And there we are, nice and free. It's always a challenge to find the best camera angle. I'm just starting my stitch in the ditch, and I'm going to go ahead and do this on both sides of the border. I have all this stitch in the ditch done around the blue, and I think it looks better. I like the way it lays flatter when you do the stitch in the ditch. So I'm getting ready to do the inside of the panel. I switched my thread over to the gray Omni thread. I'm just going to go ahead and stitch around each one of these elements right here, and then I'll start stitching on the lines. I had to take out the original audio. My husband was taking the carpet out, and it was making a lot of noise. I'm just stitching the lines that are closest to the elements, and then I'll go back and stitch the longer ones. So I thought about this a little bit. You can see I have these outlined, and then I did a little bit of the stripes. Not all of them. I haven't done this, but I think I'm going to just do a crosshatch in all of these and stitch over the bison, and I think I'll do the cross hatching, and I'll probably do it manually because I think it's easier to control. Okay, the quilt is all done, and I think the cross hatching was a good thing to do. It just kind of looks like everything's in a fence. So it doesn't even look that bad. But you know what? It was hard to get the line straight on the buffalo because I couldn't see the marks. And yeah, so it's not perfect, but I think it still looks pretty good. I want to talk a little bit about custom quilting. So I get asked all the time from the quilt shops, from other Longarmers, do you do custom quilting for people? And most Longarmers in my area do not do custom quilting for people. And here's the reason. It takes a lot of time, and it's really not worth the money. So, I mean, just that little quilt that you just saw me do made me really tired. And most of us are, you know, in our 60s or whatever, and it takes a toll on your body to do all that custom quilting. Now that was just, you know, barely any custom quilting, and I had a migraine yesterday, so I'm not really still up to par today. So Anyway, I guess my point is, it is hard to find people that do custom quilting because it really just isn't worth it. You just got to find a Longarmer that likes you and wants to do a little bit of custom quilting for you, because that little quilt took me I don't know, 3-4 hours to do, which would have probably took less than an hour to do an edge to edge on it. And so I don't know, what do you charge for that? I mean, is it worth a 56 by 56 quilt? Is it worth paying $150 for? So I'm not really going to tell you what I charge my client, because she's my friend, because she didn't ask me to custom quilt it, and I did that for her because I wanted to. So anyway, I'd like to know what everybody else charges for custom quilting, and if you do custom quilting, let me know in the comments. Thanks. I'm ready to unroll this quilt and cut it off the frame. I really need to start looking in the mirror. My hair is a mess right here, and that's because I had to lay down again. So forgive my hair. All right, all finished. And this is what it looks like. And I think it looks pretty good. And here's the pretty sunflowers on the back. Can't really see much of the quilting. You can see a little bit of the blue, but most of it just kind of blends in. So next I want to show you, so don't leave, I want to show you how I take the fabric off my leaders. So here's the fabric that's left on the leaders, and you're just going to yank it. Pull it off, just like that. And see how the staples come off with it? And so the staples are left in the fabric if you stapled it right, which is the staples need to go into the fabric first. And I don't have any left in my leader. So they're all gone, and it's all in here. So you can take them off of there if you want, which I do most of the time. But it's really easy to take it off, and then you're done.